Howdy guys, Justino here, and I've decided to kind of turn this channel into something where I kind of just yap about, different topics or things that I think can be kind of interesting. And I guess one of the ones that I wanted to start with, or at least the first one that I wanted to start with, is why I think that something like trans ideology or anything along the lines of like gender, like kind of like politics and things like that, anything with like sexuality is kind of like a toxic thing, or maybe like dangerous is a better word, to implant in young children's minds. And this would basically be applied to any child that isn't like of like a teenager or anything, like they haven't taken a health class. And I wanted to talk about this because, like, speaking from my own personal experience, um if any of those ideas were ever introduced to myself at the age that I was during that time, I think that I could have turned out to become a very different person. So to give a little bit of a context on where I'm going with this, um I only took about three health classes growing up. There was, well, actually no, there were three that I could that were uh, available to me in school. There was one in the fifth grade, which was I think only like a 30-minute class thing. They just kind of give you the bare intro to it. Your parents had to sign a permission slip in order for you to take the class. There was one in middle school, I think seventh or eighth grade. I can't remember how many classes it was. It wasn't like the whole year or anything, but you also had to get a permission slip signed for that one. And then there was, of course, mandatory health in high school. A little bit of other context, I think that is important. I did all of my schooling in California, and another thing is I am the oldest of three brothers. I'm the oldest of three brothers, and we have zero sisters in the household. I think that this is important because um, I think that young boys are raised a little bit differently when they have younger or older sisters. They're taught some things about their sisters and stuff like that, and I think that a difference is made at a pretty early age, or at least it's pretty common for that to happen. So, with all the context out of the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of show you, not really show you, but at least talk about why I think that I was really vulnerable at a young age, and I could have been very susceptible to these kinds of ideologies if they were popular opinions back then. Not that they're like very popular now, but they are, I guess, a little bit more accepted now. Um, in the fifth grade, I did not take the class. My parents didn't sign the permission slip. So during this time, I don't know what a boy or a girl really is. I do know what a boy is. I've known for a long time. And I've known that I've liked girls, even though that's not really the topic at hand. I've known that I've liked girls since like kindergarten. Um, and if we go to middle school now, in middle school, I don't know anything either about really the difference between a boy and a girl. I don't know the true difference. Um, there's a little story that I have to share of when I was in middle school. My parents sent me to spend some time in Louisiana with a few different family members. They wanted to have me, get a little bit of a different perspective, I think, on life. I was a little bit of a troubled child, according to them, as troubled as a 12, 13, 14-year-old middle schooler can get. Um, and over in Louisiana, that household consisted of it was five siblings and their parents. Although it's important to note that the youngest sibling at the time was a senior in high school, and I'm in a seventh or eighth grade. Um, there were two sons and three daughters. The oldest son did not live at home, and then the other son was away at college. So I stayed in the house with the parents as well as three daughters. And I very specifically remember one of the days where one of the sisters had actually asked me, she said, "Hey, next time you use the bathroom, do you mind putting the seat down?" Mind you, I'm just going to go with 13 because it's just random between 12 and 14. Mind you, I'm 13, and I literally answer with, "Why?" It's at this point, this had to have been before I took health, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it was before the health class I took in middle school. But I said why, and the reason why I said why is because I genuinely thought girls also had penises at this point. Yeah, I was 13, and I thought boys and girls were still exactly the same in that regard. We had no other differences whatsoever besides maybe like appearance or like things that we like and stuff like that. Maybe girls have boobs, I don't know. Anyway, I definitely said something along the lines of why, and then they said probably something like because we sit down, and then literally probably says something like you sit down when you pee. I think that this is pretty important to note because I'm 13, and I think that it does show that some kids really just don't know anything. And I mean, it could obviously be due to the fact that my parents didn't sign a permission slip for me to take a health class and understand the differences pretty early. But at the same time, the reason why I'm bringing this up is to show how I think easy it can be to actually influence a child's like opinion on this kind of thing. Opinion might be the wrong word here, but how easily you can manipulate their mind into believing something that they might not think otherwise. Children at this age don't really understand the concept or the differences between the two genders, and like it really isn't until things like puberty or until you actually learn about the body where I think that they can maybe start to understand a little bit more about themselves. But even still, it's not a very easy thing for like kids to kind of pick up on. um, so when it comes to like parents or adult figures in schools or mentors or anything like that, I think it can be a pretty dangerous thing to try to implant seeds of like different like gender ideologies like very very early in a young child's mind. Because because the thing is, a child doesn't know any better. They really don't. They're going to listen and take in the knowledge that they're learning from school from their parents because they think of these people as much smarter than them and more experienced. So regardless of the fact of whether you think you're right or not, a lot of kids will just go ahead and believe what adults are telling them. And I think that, obviously, if somebody at that time were to tell me that, maybe I'm confused because I don't know the difference, like I could very easily see it being spun that way in this day and age where I don't know the difference, or like, like I don't know what I am. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? I don't know the differences. And then they might be like, oh, well, maybe you're a girl. And just even implanting that, even though I might have been like confused or something, and I might question it. If you were just to continually feed it into me, then it could turn out very differently. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that, and why I think it's kind of dangerous behavior in a way. It's not really at that point. It's not really leaving it up to the child. I know a lot of people talk about that and like how you should leave the decision up to the child. And I think when it comes to a scenario like this, you're not really leaving it up to them. You're kind of trying to persuade them into a certain way of thinking. You know what I mean? But yeah, this was just one of a few things I wanted to talk about, and I think that's really about it. I'm just gonna be posting these every now and then. I'll have some like Monster Hunter gameplay in the background or something whenever I do these. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. This has been on my mind for a while. I just really wanted to talk about it because I think that people don't really understand the 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 consequences of it. Yeah. All right. Peace out, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. All right. See ya.